Welcome, everyone. As we move into Module 4, we'll be focusing on navigating professional relationships, and today's topic is something almost all of us have experienced: handling difficult coworkers. No matter where you work, there's a good chance you've encountered someone who makes collaboration challenging, whether they're uncooperative, overly critical, or just hard to communicate with. In this lecture, we'll explore practical strategies for handling these situations professionally and keeping the workplace a positive environment. Learning objectives. This lecture will allow you to identify common traits of difficult coworkers and why these behaviors arise. Learn strategies to manage and communicate effectively with challenging colleagues. Develop techniques to maintain professionalism and protect your mental well-being when dealing with difficult coworkers. Let's start by acknowledging that we spend a huge part of our lives at work. Because of this, difficult coworkers can have a significant impact on our mood, productivity, and overall job satisfaction. However, it's possible to work effectively alongside challenging individuals if we apply the right strategies. Types of difficult coworkers. There are many types of difficult coworkers, each requiring a slightly different approach. Here are a few common types. The complainer. This person constantly complains about tasks, management, or coworkers. They tend to focus on problems rather than solutions, creating a negative environment. The credit taker. This coworker takes credit for other people's ideas or work, which can be incredibly frustrating in a team setting. The slacker. This person avoids responsibility, does the bare minimum, and leaves their teammates to pick up the slack. The aggressive communicator. This person tends to dominate conversations, interrupt others, and dismiss alternative viewpoints. They might use a harsh or condescending tone, making collaboration difficult. Why coworkers act this way? Difficult behavior doesn't come out of nowhere. People often act this way due to deeper reasons, such as insecurity, fear of failure, or a need for control. Understanding the root of their behavior can help you approach them with more empathy and avoid taking their actions personally. Example: a credit taker may be struggling with self-confidence, feeling that they need to showcase results to stay relevant in the company. While this doesn't excuse the behavior, understanding it helps you address the issue more effectively. Strategies for managing difficult coworkers. Stay professional. No matter how frustrating a situation becomes, always remain professional. If a coworker is rude or confrontational, don't respond with the same behavior. Keep your tone calm and your communication clear. This not only helps de-escalate conflicts, but also shows others that you're maintaining your professionalism. Example: if a colleague constantly interrupts you in meetings, calmly say, "I'd like to finish my point, and then I'd love to hear your thoughts." Set boundaries. Just as we discussed in the lecture on boundaries, setting clear limits with coworkers is essential. If someone regularly dumps work on you, for instance, let them know what your workload looks like and politely but firmly decline additional tasks that aren't your responsibility. Example: I can't take on that task right now because I have other priorities. I suggest we talk to our supervisor about how to balance the workload. Address issues directly but diplomatically. If a coworker's behavior is causing problems, it's often best to address the issue directly but in a non-confrontational way. Use I statements to express how their behavior affects you without sounding accusatory. Example: I feel frustrated when my contributions aren't acknowledged in meetings. I'd appreciate it if we could work together to ensure that everyone's input is recognized. Know when to escalate. There are times when no matter how well you manage the situation, the behavior continues. In these cases, it may be necessary to involve a supervisor or HR. Be sure to document instances of inappropriate behavior so that you have clear examples to support your concerns. Story illustration. Here's a story to illustrate these strategies in action. Maria worked in a design firm with a colleague named Steve, who constantly took credit for her ideas in team meetings. Maria was frustrated, but instead of lashing out, she decided to handle it professionally. She spoke to Steve privately, saying, "I've noticed that some of my ideas have been presented as yours in our meetings. I'd like to make sure we both get proper recognition for our contributions." Steve apologized, explaining that he hadn't realized he was doing it. From then on, they were more mindful of giving each other credit. Moral of the story: with addressing the issue directly and calmly, Maria was able to resolve the problem without creating a bigger conflict. Approaching difficult colleagues with professionalism and clear communication often leads to positive outcomes. Working with a tangled cord. Think of handling difficult coworkers like working with a tangled cord. If you pull on the knots aggressively, they'll tighten, making things worse. But if you work through the knots patiently and with care, you can untangle the mess and get the cord back in working order. Similarly, approaching difficult colleagues calmly and methodically will lead to smoother, more productive interactions. Moral of the analogy: patience and care in handling difficult coworkers will prevent further conflicts and allow you to maintain a productive working relationship. Follow-up assignments. Reflect on a current or past coworker who you found difficult to work with. Write a one-page reflection on how their behavior affected you and what strategies you could apply from today's lecture to improve the situation. Create a list of potential responses you can use when a difficult coworker's behavior disrupts your work. Practice delivering these responses calmly and confidently. Here's the catch. Have you ever had to deal with a difficult coworker? What strategies worked for you? Or, have you struggled with setting boundaries or addressing problems directly? Feel free to share your thoughts and questions in the comments section. Conclusion. That concludes today's lecture on handling difficult coworkers. In our next lecture, we'll discuss dealing with a difficult boss, which presents a whole new set of challenges. Thanks for your attention, and don't forget to practice those communication strategies with your team.